He pinned me to the wall, whispering demands no one dared to refuse. That shocking claim, allegedly leveled against the powerhouse creator Tyler Perry, sends a jolt through anyone who has followed his meteoric rise from struggling playwright to the owner of a sprawling studio in Atlanta. Today we are tackling the swirling allegations behind the $260 million lawsuit filed by actor Derek Dixon and how this dispute sheds light on the deeper question. What exactly happens behind the well-guarded gates of Tyler Perry Studios? In this in-depth look, we will explore the accusations of sexual harassment and a troubling absence of workplace protections. We will also uncover the long history of tensions Perry has had with industry labor unions, as well as examine the breakneck production style that fosters both admiration and suspicion. Why does a figure as lauded as Tyler Perry find himself at the center of such significant controversy? And is this case a pivotal moment that finally forces us to scrutinize the union battles, alleged hush-hush environment, and the relentless production machine that underscores his ever-growing empire? In this story, we will piece together the puzzle, from the lawsuit's more dramatic points and the day-to-day conditions at Tyler Perry Studios to the surprising influence of hit shows like Atlanta and the Boondocks, which famously lampooned Perry's working style. Stick around as we uncover how these cartoons, widely known for their biting satire, may have been hinting at an undercurrent of behind-the-scenes dissatisfaction. We will also connect the dots about the staggering speed of Perry's film and television shoots and how that approach intersects with controversies about fair treatment and union practices. Let us begin. Imagine stepping into a studio lot that once served as a Confederate Army base, only now boasting a series of sound stages proudly named after iconic African-American figures. It is easy to feel the weight of history when you see names like Sidney Poitier, Cicely Tyson, Spike Lee, and Diahan Carroll adorning each stage. Opened a few years ago, this 330-acre lot is often hailed as a crowning achievement for Black Hollywood. During its grand opening, luminaries like Oprah Winfrey, Denzel Washington, Ava DuVernay, Samuel L. Jackson, and Halle Berry lit up the red carpet. Viola Davis called it a historic moment of a Black artist taking control of their artistic life and the vision that God has for their life. Will Smith, too, had memorable words that evening, emphasizing the collective hardships that allowed them all to stand on such hallowed ground. From the outside, it seemed like a fairy tale in the making. But with the arrival of Derek Dixon's lawsuits, complete with allegations of sexual harassment, battery, and assault, the polished veneer of that dream moment is now rippling with scandal. According to Dixon, he felt cornered in more ways than one, pinned to a wall physically, but also pinned by the silent expectation that no one speaks out against an industry titan. Dixon insists he was not aware of an official human resources department at the time, a claim that raises eyebrows about the studio's level of compliance with industry norms. Are we witnessing the unraveling of a workplace that seemed too successful to question? Or is this simply the consequence of clashing personalities in a fast-paced environment? The story behind this enormous claim looks like a sensational Hollywood script all on its own. You have the star mogul, revered globally for his rags-to-riches triumph, producing a dizzying number of films and TV episodes, hosting elite social events for big-name celebrities, and wielding robust philanthropic power. Then, in steps a lesser-known actor making serious, jaw-dropping declarations that read like tabloid headlines, pinned to the wall, demands for sexual favors, and a fear of retaliation if he spoke up. Perhaps the boldest part of Dixon's filing is the suggestion that, from any vantage point, Tyler Perry is running a studio bereft of the standard guardrails most major productions take for granted, such as a thoroughly staffed human resources department. Let us pause for a moment. If you are as fascinated as I am by stories that promise to peel back the curtain on star-studded facades, consider giving a quick like. It is a great way to show you want more deep dives into the complexities beneath Hollywood's glossy exterior. Throughout the entertainment industry, colleagues have long whispered about Perry's breakneck style of production. Multiple sources recount that he can push through dozens of pages of script in a single day, leaving little room for extended rehearsals, or the leisurely pacing that many sets rely on. On a typical film set, you might expect to shoot a handful of pages over the course of a full day, polishing performances and checking continuity with care. At Tyler Perry Studios, that practice apparently goes out the window. The Tyler Perry pace keeps budgets lean and deadlines sorted, impressing some while alienating others. That mania for rapid output drives every aspect of production. From the moment you step onto the lot, you either keep up or get swept aside, which can introduce an unhealthy dose of anxiety and exhaustion. Take, for instance, the words of cast and crew who recall filming entire episodes of television in just a couple of days, while also juggling other ongoing projects. Some label it impressive, praising Perry's unwavering focus and determination. Others feel that the breakneck schedule sacrifices safety, quality, morale, and fair worker conditions in the name of unstoppable content creation. On top of that, Perry's preference to pen his scripts personally means that the usual writers' rooms are absent or significantly scaled back, limiting the creative input from anyone else. Consistency of vision or borderline tyranny? Different sides have different answers, of course. Meanwhile, the comedic worlds of Atlanta and the Boondocks provide a unique window into how some in the industry view Tyler Perry. Donald Glover's fictional Mr. Chocolate in Atlanta is unmistakably a parody of Perry, depicting a monstrous figure who cranks out subpar scripts and exploits his cast and crew, relying on local philanthropic efforts to shield him from criticism. Almost a decade earlier, the Boondocks presented a storyline featuring a Perry-esque playwright courting male actors through unsolicited advances, only to dangle stardom in return for acquiescing to his whims. Although comedic in tone, these portrayals are widely believed to have been inspired by persistent rumors in real-life entertainment circles, highlighting under-the-radar accusations of sexual harassment and exploitation. Adding to this swirl of controversy is Perry's uneasy relationship with major labor unions. In 2008, the Writers Guild brought forth an unfair labor practice complaint following Perry's termination of half of his writing staff on a popular sitcom. High-profile showrunners like Tina Fey, Chuck Lorre, and Shonda Rhimes expressed dismay at how the dismissed writers were reportedly penalized for union-related activities. Then, in 2015, Perry found himself in a standoff with Actors Equity for refusing to sign a contract during one of his stage play tours. The results? He remains on their do not work list. Though some might call him a brilliant pioneer, others say his cost-cutting measures and disregard for structured allowances put him at odds with the core frameworks that keep industry professionals protected. Consider the repeated pattern. A production assistant files suit for what he claims is sexual harassment enabled by a blind eye corporate culture. Then there are multiple cases in which writers, crew, or staff have raised red flags regarding union complaints. In separate instances, lawsuits claim that an employee was fired after reporting workplace issues or that an entire staff of writers was let go after they pursued union representation. These conflicts do not paint a simple picture of a philanthropic mogul who only wants to create uplifting entertainment for wide audiences. Instead, they suggest that behind the philanthropic glitz may lie a complicated dance of power, control, and minimal tolerance for dissent. Derek Dixon's allegations expand the same narrative to uncharted territory, repeating the idea that, at Tyler Perry Studios, your options are limited if you want to speak out. According to Dixon, the environment felt so insular and so lacking in formal structure that he did not even know who to approach about his allegations of sexual assault, battery, and harassment. Perry, of course, aggressively rejects these claims, calling them nothing more than a shakedown. At the moment, the legal system has yet to rule on the matter. Whether there is evidence to prove or disprove the specifics remains to be seen, but the underlying question about structural failings within Tyler Perry Studios remains pressing. It may be unsurprising, then, that Perry is known for avoiding large teams of writers. Instead, he scripts an overwhelming majority of his television episodes and films alone. Depending on which circle you consult, that practice is either a virtuosic hallmark of an auteur or a signal of someone who struggles to delegate authority and share the creative limelight. For those championing him as an emblem of Black entrepreneurship, the reality becomes more complicated. Can someone be a courageous trailblazer, providing the impetus for others to follow, while also pushing an unorthodox approach to labor relations and staff welfare? A major factor in Perry's day-to-day approach is technology. The director-producer has mentioned publicly that the rapid expansion of artificial intelligence is likely to shrink the need for large crews, from electricians and sound personnel to drivers and script coordinators. He has even hinted that he might hold off on expanding his studios further, anticipating that, within a few short years, many roles could be supplanted by tech tools. That stance has set off alarm bells for those who see it as yet another sign that Perry is less inclined than ever to follow standard union guidelines for hiring a stable workforce and paying them properly. From a storytelling angle, the stakes are massive. Tyler Perry is not just producing a handful of shows. He has churned out well over 2,000 television episodes and around 30 films, not to mention dozens of stage plays. Each production that hits your television screen represents the collaborative efforts of numerous individuals. Behind every comedic punchline or heartfelt scene, there may be writers, production assistants, makeup teams, drivers, lighting experts, camera operators, and more. What happens to an industry if the biggest local powerhouse in Atlanta decides to trim and cut corners relentlessly in terms of how staff are treated and how workplace complaints are heard? For local film professionals, the presence of Tyler Perry Studios might be a blessing or a curse. Some see it as a steady gig generator, fueling the thriving Atlanta entertainment scene. Others see it as a near monopoly. With that much money and star culture swirling around, who would dare offend the boss by speaking out? According to multiple insiders, job hopping from Tyler Perry Studios to major outside productions, such as the ones from Marvel or the Netflix phenomenon Stranger Things, is not common. The skill sets and working culture simply do not overlap much. This somewhat siloed environment compounds the sense that, once absorbed into Perry's kingdom, you adopt his rules or lose out on the chance to work at all. By now, you might be wondering, how does the public react to these controversies? Indeed, public reception is quite divided. A loyal base cherishes Perry's depiction of faith-centered, family-friendly narratives, hails him as an altruistic champion for various charitable causes, and lauds his repeated emphasis on black representation in film and TV. On the flip side, critics decry the content's repetitive nature and wonder whether these philanthropic gestures and positive stories overshadow systemic issues behind the scenes. So, if you are finding this exploration eye-opening, subscribe to stay tuned for future investigative breakdowns into more Hollywood controversies. There is a lot more to uncover, and having you here is exactly what fuels these deeper dives. Let us go step by step through the hourglass of controversies and see how they align. First, there is Derek Dixon's claim of being physically pinned by Tyler Perry himself, and described as feeling he had nowhere to turn for help. That incident, if proved true, makes for a grim environment, especially when you consider that production assistants have already spoken up in lawsuits about sexual harassment by other staff members in the past. The repeated pattern of litigations hints that the alleged problems may not be simply one-time misunderstandings. Second, there is the matter of union conflicts. From the Writers Guild complaint in 2008 over the alleged retaliation against unionizing television writers, to the friction with Actors' Equity for refusing to employ union-recognized actors for stage plays, Tyler Perry has repeatedly been singled out by these indispensable industry organizations. It seems that whenever union frameworks butt up against Perry's desire to maintain direct control, conflict arises. The result is a rickety relationship that occasionally erupts into high-profile standoffs. Third, you have the creative theft or misappropriation lawsuits, at least 5 in number, from parties who allege that Perry used parts of their stories, plays, or music without proper compensation or credit. Such lawsuits are not especially unique in Hollywood, but their volume over time raises eyebrows. Settlements or dismissals often end them before anyone can get a definitive read on the truth. While it is common for big studios to face such claims, the overshadowing question remains: why does it keep happening? Fourth, the unrelenting production tempo that has become almost mythical, with some people championing it as a demonstration of raw brilliance, and others calling it a meltdown waiting to happen. One of Perry's longtime collaborators notes that if they are filming a feature, they might average 8 pages a day, which is already significantly higher than many mainstream productions. Meanwhile, for a TV show, that can balloon to 25 pages daily. These punishing schedules have to factor into morale, stress, and compliance with mandatory guidelines like breaks, meal periods, and overtime wages. Fifth, the comedic lens of Atlanta and the Boondocks that lampooned or parodied figures suspiciously close to Perry, capturing the public's imagination through outlandish plot lines that echo real rumors. That creative commentary transforms what might have been masked whispers into watchable satire, effectively broadcasting the rumored issues to a broader audience. It begs the question, if satirical series found enough reason to dedicate entire episodes to mocking these alleged issues, is there a kernel of truth behind the jokes? Finally, we have the future outlook. If artificial intelligence truly reduces the number of crew members needed, if Perry decides to maintain and even tighten the self-reliant approach, and if he continues seeming unconcerned by union backlash, we might witness more lawsuits, more dissatisfaction among creative professionals, and more attempts by outside forces to shed light on hidden truths. Far be it from anyone to completely tear down an innovative figure who broke many barriers for African American representation in the entertainment landscape. It is also vital to acknowledge the swirl of legal entanglements and allegations that keep piling up. Tyler Perry is adored by millions who appreciate his comedic/dramatic oeuvre, but the details emerging from Derek Dixon's recent filing paint a more complicated image. For every testimony praising him as a direct, no-nonsense visionary, there seems to be a story of someone who felt pressured, cornered, or left unprotected in a fast-paced environment that prioritizes the final product over employees' well-being. It is clear we are dealing with a narrative that couples creativity and controversy in nearly equal measure. Perhaps the biggest takeaway here is that the glitz and glamour of a thriving studio backlot, star-studded galas, and comedic characters like Medea are no guarantee of a supportive or fair environment behind the scenes. Despite the strong sense of pride that many, especially Black artists, feel when stepping onto the premises of Tyler Perry Studios, these lawsuits spotlight the real possibility that success stories can cloak unaddressed issues of harassment, union conflicts, and potential exploitation. As the Dixon case proceeds, insiders will be watching keenly. Until now, claims of a harsh environment have largely remained hush-hush, overshadowed by Perry's philanthropic gestures and unwavering focus on creative control. This time, the accusations directly target Perry himself for the alleged acts. The outcome could prove a litmus test for how future employees approach potential grievances at Tyler Perry Studios. Of course, only time in the courts can confirm or negate Derek Dixon's allegations. Yet the lawsuit's ramifications are already creating ripples. Industry professionals who see themselves as underdogs in a scramble for fewer and fewer union-protected roles are keen to see whether one of entertainment's biggest success stories will be forced to change its ways. Others, loyal to Perry, might reject the accusations outright, but ignoring them entirely is becoming increasingly difficult. If you have stayed with us until now, I truly appreciate your curiosity and attention to this complicated story. Now is your chance to let us know you are discovering new perspectives. Click that like button if this deep dive has kept you hooked. When all is said and done, the real question remains how the legacy of Tyler Perry will evolve in light of these controversies. Will the fervor over union disputes, allegations of harassment, and alleged breakneck working conditions overshadow the philanthropic achievements, the championing of Black talent, and the expansive empire he built practically from scratch? Or will this swirl of legal and cultural pushback push him to reform and create a safer, more structured environment for those who look up to him? For the near future, the world is watching. Every revelation from Derek Dixon's case, every new rumor of behind-the-scenes challenges, and every official statement that Tyler Perry or his representatives make becomes part of a grander conversation about fairness, accountability, and representation in the entertainment industry. Meanwhile, production at Tyler Perry Studios sails on at a breathtaking pace, forging stories that millions continue to watch from living rooms across the globe. Whether we will see a turning point soon is still unknown, but one thing is certain: people far and wide are paying attention, and this story is far from